What is up, people, and welcome back to part 59 of my F1 2016 career mode here at the Japanese Grand Prix. If you missed Season 1, Season 2, and the first 16 rounds of this third season, you can go catch up on everything that has happened in this career mode. With the top right corner of your screen, just click that little card annotation and you can catch up with everything that's happened so far. Last time out, though, at the Malaysian Grand Prix. It was a good race from us, but unfortunately, Carlos Sainz got the race win. We could only get second place. So that means that the gap between the two of us is now 67 points in the championship, making our title hopes slimmer and slimmer as the season goes on. But we're going to try and change that here today at one of probably my worst circuits on the whole entire F1 calendar. Apart from Spain, I'd say this one is my second worst circuit on the calendar. I've never got better than really 10th position on this circuit, so we'll be hoping for something different here today. But first of all, we need to get resource points in order to upgrade that car. And the only way to do that is, of course, to take part in the practice session. So here we are in practice 1 here at the Japanese Grand Prix, going through the track acclimatization, round the final corner now, down towards the line. And there we go, a purple score, 495 out of 495. And yeah, purple score at the end of the day, and that's absolutely fantastic for us. 20th position as well in the practice session, which isn't too bad. It's a lot better than what we usually do, but lap times don't mean anything in practice. And here we are doing the tyre wear management, coming around the final corner. Our last lap was only good enough for a green score, but overall, purple and lots of resource points to hopefully spend after today's race, or possibly after the American Grand Prix. We just have to wait and see how the season goes on. But 22nd position once again in FP2. Lap times do not matter. Around the final corner though, and we can only get good enough for a 1:34.268. That was the best lap time that we could possibly do in this qualifying session, in this qualifying objective, and it was good enough for 9th position in the practice session, but it just wasn't good enough to get any green or purple scores to get resource points. So unfortunately, missing out on some resource points there, but qualifying pace has always been what's let us down across the course of this season. So hopefully we can change that in the qualifying session. Without any further ado, let's head over to that qualifying session. It's qualifying here at the Suzuka circuit for round 17 of this third season. We'll be hoping to try and get into Q2 and Q3 here today, but this is probably one of my worst circuits on the whole entire F1 calendar. Around the final corner, down across the line, it's a 1:34.066, so it's a good start to the qualifying session at the moment, beating Max Verstappen just a little bit slower than Romain Grosjean as of now. Around the 130R right now, coming into the final chicane, not quite quicker here on this lap. Can we do anything around the final corner? No, we can't, and that's because the rain is coming down. I struggled on this lap because of the rain. We were 1.7 seconds down, currently in 8th position, so that should be good enough in theory to get us into Q2. Okay, no it's not. What's happened there then? What has happened there? Why have we been knocked out of Q1? How has everybody been able to set a faster lap time than us when it was heavy rain? Well, when it was light rain, you know? That's just not possible. I don't know how that happened in this session. I was really struggling with the wet conditions on dry tyres. As you can see, I was 1.7 seconds down. And then I went out later on when I was still in about 12th position in the session, just to see what exactly was going on in that session. So I decided to go out once again on another set of soft tyres. And the same thing, I was about 5 seconds down, yet still drivers were able to overtake my lap time. So I don't know how that's possible, but unfortunately at the end of the session, we have been knocked out with a 1:34.066, only good enough for 17th place. And it looks like we've been knocked out alongside Kimi Raikkonen and Max Verstappen, so the Ferrari and Red Bull drivers not doing good at all. Felipe Massa also being knocked out in that session, and no real surprise that the two Sauber drivers of Felipe Nasr and Marcus Ericsson are knocked out of the session as well. So, the Japanese Grand Prix, one of my worst circuits on the whole entire F1 calendar, has just got a lot harder, especially with the championship battle that we're in. It's no doubt that probably Carlos Sainz has qualified near the top end of the field, so we're going to have a lot to do in the Japanese Grand Prix to try and get that race win and try and beat Carlos Sainz. You know, we need to start getting race wins in the season in order to win the championship. Can we do it? Let's find out as we head over to the race for the Japanese Grand Prix. It's race day here at the Japanese Grand Prix. The Suzuka International Circuit is the stage for round 17 of this third season. Not the best of qualifying sessions from myself, being down in 17th place. However, we were very much messed up by the weather system. For some reason, We were knocked out in Q1 when the rain was coming down. We couldn't set a better lap time, but the AI were able to go quicker, and that really messed us up in qualifying. So unfortunate for us there, but we'll be looking to do better in today's race. Looking at the championship at the moment, Carlos Sainz, 67 points is the gap between the two of us with 5 races left to go. The Constructors' Championship looking very similar as well. 160 points-ish is the gap between the two of us. So that is very slim to try and catch up. That one, Jolyon Palmer lines up in pole position. He had a very good qualifying session to set 134.2, which we actually beat in our Q1 time. So we could have possibly been on for pole position had we just been able to get out of Q1. But unfortunately, that is how it works, and we are down in 17th on the grid for today's race. So a very disappointing qualifying session. It's going to be very tricky in today's race. Looking at the race strategy though, starting on the soft tyres, but looking at the personalised one, they want us to go softs, then hards. And I think that I am going to stick with that as well. I'm going to start on the softs, go for another set of soft tyres, try and work our way through the field, and then try and hold position on the hard tyres. So here we are getting underway on the formation lap. Well, not really getting underway. We've got to wait for everybody ahead of us to move on before we can start our formation lap, and here we go. So the plan for turn 1, it's a very tricky turn 1 at the Suzuka circuit, so it's going to be difficult to try and make overtakes down into it, but if there is a space, then we are certainly going to go for it and try and make up as many positions as we possibly can. But then it's in towards the S's, so it's going to be difficult to overtake on this circuit. But let's head back to the starting grid for today's race. Here we are then on the grid for today's Japanese Grand Prix, round 17 of the 3rd season. It's 5 red lights. Lights out, and away we go for today's race. Not the best of starts compared to the manner of Pascal Wehrlein, who has got off to a lightning quick start down towards turn 1. But we have a bit of space going into this corner. We're going to take it a bit cautiously. We do not want to lose any parts of our front wing going down in towards this corner, because, you know, we've got a whole 27 laps ahead of us. We have lost out position to Max Verstappen, but I'm pretty sure I will be able to get that back within the first couple of laps. Everyone's going to be all cramped together. It's going to be very easy to get past some of the AI drivers through these corners. We just need to pick our gap. Well, it looks like we found it around the outside of this corner. Great move around the outside of Max Verstappen, holding it around the inside of the Dunlop curve. Can't quite get Esteban Gutierrez, but I'm sure we will get him later on in the lap, and that's a great move around the outside of the Red Bull driver. Now through the first and second Degner, right behind Esteban Gutierrez on the first lap of today's race. Going down in towards the hairpin. Can we do anything on Esteban Gutierrez? We try it up the inside, side by side with the Haas driver. We squeeze him out, and there we go, taking 16th place away from Esteban Gutierrez. Looks like he has just managed to defend from the Red Bull driver. Now right behind Pascal Wehrlein, going down into the chicane, up the inside of him, up the inside of Valtteri Bottas as well. No contact between the two of us, but he gives us a lot of room through the chicane, and that moves us up another couple of positions. So this has been a good start so far to today's Japanese Grand Prix. Right behind Lewis Hamilton as we go purple through the second segment. We back off just a little bit to go around the outside of the chicane, but unfortunately Lewis Hamilton, oh, there's contact between the two Mercedes drivers. The two Mercedes drivers coming together there. That's good news for us, and now we'll get a good run out of the chicane down towards turn 1, following in the slipstream of both Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg. Down towards turn 1, double slipstream up the inside in towards turn 1, and there we go, got position on both of the Mercedes, as it felt like one of them went into the back of me. I think it was Lewis Hamilton. Hopefully we have a replay of what exactly went on there, but for now we are up into the top 10, I believe, in today's race. So it's been a fantastic start to this Japanese Grand Prix as we're watching on board with Lewis Hamilton right now. Going down in towards turn 1, so he's following the slipstream of Nico Rosberg. He pulls over to the right hand side, I then pull over to the right hand side of him, going down in towards turn 1. And you can't, yeah, that's not really my fault there, going down towards turn 1. Lewis Hamilton a little bit too late on the brakes, goes into the back of me and breaks half of his front wing. So disappointment there from the Mercedes driver. But here we are on lap 4, right behind the Red Bull driver of Daniel Ricciardo. We're not quite in the top 10, but this will get us into the top 10. Up the inside of Daniel Ricciardo through 130R, and now coming out the inside of Rio Haryanto and possibly even Romain Grosjean as well. 3 overtakes in the space of 2 corners. Lovely, lovely stuff there. Danny Kvyat, Kevin Magnussen come into the pits. A couple of other drivers coming into the pits as well. Where is this going to put us in the standing order? Up into P4 so far in today's race, with Fernando Alonso up next in the standings. So a good start from 17th on the grid to move up into the top 4. So far so good in today's Japanese Grand Prix. But we're under pressure right now from the Manor driver, which I believe is Rio Haryanto. Yes, it is. So Rio Haryanto right to the back of us through turn 5 right now. Going down in towards turn 1. He's going to try and take the outside line in towards this corner. We're taking the defensive right-hand side inside line down towards turn 1. Is it going to be enough to hold off Rio Haryanto? Not quite. Who goes for the lead of the Grand Prix as everybody ahead of us has pitted. And there we go, unfortunately. Just taking a little tap there behind Rio Haryanto and having to give up the lead of the race. But we are on a different strategy, so hopefully with our different strategy we can try and come back at him later on through the race. But here we are through 130R, getting a great run through that corner, up the inside, in towards the chicane. We need to get this right hand side because we are coming into the pits on this lap. And there we go, great overtake on the Manor driver and coming into the pit lane for our first stop in today's race. There's only going to be a 2-stopper in today's race. There's a couple of drivers get past us, including the Red Bull of Daniel Ricciardo as well. So here we are, first pit stop in today's race. We need it to be a quick one for a new set of soft tyres. It didn't look that quick, but it probably was about a 2.5 second stop there, so it isn't too bad. A lot of drivers getting past us now. All we want is to get out in some clean air because we are on a different strategy to these guys. Some of them are doing the 3-stopper, whereas we are going for the 2-stopper, but on a faster set of tyres. So hopefully we have come out in some clean air, which we kind of haven't. We've got a little bit of space towards the next driver, which I believe is a McLaren of Jenson Button, which we have. And here we are on lap 8, right behind the McLaren. We go up the inside into the hairpin, late braking from myself there on Jenson Button, getting a position on the McLaren driver, moving up into P15 and once again making our way through the field. This is great racing at today's Japanese Grand Prix. Malaysia, there wasn't a lot of overtakes going on, whereas this one today, there is certainly a lot of overtakes going on in today's race. And here we are following right in the slipstream of the Renault driver of Kevin Magnussen, down in towards 130. Looks like a couple of drivers are going for the overtakes down in towards the next corner. We're once again just going to back off into this corner, try and see if they make any mistakes, which they do. And that was Marcus Ericsson running wide in the Sauber, holding up Kevin Magnussen. And that was 2 overtakes in one corner. Very good awareness from myself through that corner to try and get the position on both of those guys. And now we're right on the tail of the Toro Rosso of Danny Kvyat. Looks like the Williams of Felipe Massa's come into the pits. And here we are up the inside, down in towards turn 1, moving up into P11, up the inside of Rio Haryanto as well, who was leading the race before we came into the pits. And there we go. That's exactly what we need to do. So far we could be in a net first position at the moment. Look up ahead of us. Look who it is right now. Carlos Sainz running in P4 forces Felipe Nasr wide through 130R, and that allows me to get an easy position on the Sauber driver. Now we're right behind Carlos Sainz, going down in towards turn 1. Can we do anything to get past the Toro Rosso driver? We know the car is very, very quick. We're currently running in 2nd and 3rd place. Up the inside in towards turn 1, very late under braking. Carlos Sainz runs it wide, and that's going to be an easy position taken away from the Toro Rosso driver, moving up into P2, and that's exactly what we need to do in this championship. But we are not gaining enough points over our rival right now. Jolyon Palmer currently leading the race, but he is on a different strategy, so hopefully with a pit stop very soon we can get back past him and take the lead of today's Japanese Grand Prix. But here's Carlos Sainz right now on lap 10, looking like he could go for an overtake. So we run it very wide on the exit of the Dunlop curve, down in towards the 2 Degners, and Carlos Sainz has the position done there. Great move from Carlos Sainz, very opportunistic move once we made the mistake to go up the inside, and there he is in P2 right now. But he's coming to the pits on lap turns. We lose the back end there, nearly putting the car into the wall and ending our race completely, but nevertheless we have got past Carlos Sainz, and Jolyon Palmer still leading today's race. It looks like he could be on for a 2-stop strategy as well. So we're on board with the McLaren of Jenson Button, who I think has had another punch. He's going very slowly at the moment. There's no engine failure. I can't see which tyre it is. I think it could be the front left as he comes in towards the chicane. Yes, it is. It's the front left tyre of Jenson Button. That's 2 races in a row where he's had a punch. As we're on board with Kevin Magnussen going down in towards turn 1. He's going to get an easy move there on the Sauber driver of Felipe Nasr. There's a car coming out of the pit lane. Kevin Magnussen has gone straight into the back of the Haas driver, who looked like he could have actually teleported across the track after the collision. Hopefully we get confirmation of that with a replay. But Kevin Magnussen going into the Haas driver. He had a lot of room in the circuit. There is enough room for drivers to go 3 wide, especially with a car coming out the pits, but very, very unfortunate for Kevin Magnussen. He's going to be right down at the back of the field after that collision. Here's a replay on board with the Renault driver, on board with K-Mag going down in towards turn 1. He has a position already on the Sauber. He can move over to the left-hand side. He doesn't do so, and he goes into the back of the Haas driver, who is out of today's race. Disappointment there for Romain Grosjean. Disappointment as well there for Kevin Magnussen as well. Very, very disappointing. Not too sure why he did that. He could have moved over to the left-hand side and given him more room and given Romain Grosjean more room. He's on board with the Haas driver. You can hardly see any contact at all, as it looks like somebody else gave him a huge smash in the rear after that. He's on board with Danny Kvyat. Was it the Toro Rosso driver who went straight into the back of Romain Grosjean? There's the collision up ahead, and it looks like he's just pinned. He has nowhere to go after the Williams of Valtteri Bottas goes for the overtake. Danny Kvyat has, the only choice he has is to either carry on what he's doing, hit Valtteri Bottas, or go off the track, and in the end, the AI driver just goes straight into the back of Romain Grosjean, and that is him out of the race, as we are getting overtaken by Daniel Ricciardo, who overtakes us for the lead of today's race after Jolyon Palmer has come into pits. We are battling as hard as we possibly can to try and hold on to the lead of this race. We're still on the soft tyres, but it looks like Ricciardo has got the position for now. We are coming into the pits for our second pit stop in this race, so it doesn't matter too much, as Daniel Ricciardo will still have to make one more pit stop in this race. I believe, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure he should have to come into the pits for one more pit stop in this race. We've gone on to the hard tyres, which you have to do. The hard tyre is the mandatory set of tyres, which we actually made a mistake with last season in Season 2, if you remember, if you have watched that video. We did not know that you had to run on the hard tyres in that race, and unfortunately we did not do so. I think we got up to about 7th position, and in the end we got disqualified for not actually realising that you had to run the hard tyres. I think it was either, at the time I thought you had to run the hard or the mediums, but it was actually only the hard. The hard is the tyre that you have to run on. And we unfortunately made that mistake at the Japanese Grand Prix, and we're not going to do that here today. We are running on the hard tyres, so everything is still fine and dandy, as we're on board with the manor driver of Pascal Wehrlein, who does have to come into pits. He has not pitted for the hard tyres as of yet, so we don't have to battle him too hard, which we're not going to do, as you can see, diving up the inside in towards the chicane. We're not going to battle him too hard, as we know he will be coming into pits within a matter of time. So he's currently running in P9, we're running in P10, so it's not too good at the moment, but we are making our way back through the race standings, and there we are up into P5 so far, with Pascal Wehrlein having to make another pit stop, and I believe that Daniel Ricciardo has to make another pit stop as well. And I think there is a Red Bull. I think that might be Daniel Ricciardo up ahead of us. I'm not 100% sure. But if it is, then Daniel Ricciardo has got the jump on us, as it looks like Pascal Wehrlein now is coming into pits. We run it a little bit wide, dipping a wheel there on the grass, but luckily for us, not losing the car on the exit. There we are, up into P3, up into P2 now, as Jolyon Palmer also comes into the pits for his last pit stop in today's race. He should be able to make those hard tyres last until lap 27, and here we are on lap 25 in today's Japanese Grand Prix, on board with the Ferrari driver of Kimi Raikkonen, very much putting us under pressure at this stage of the race. We want to hold on to this P2, because it would be a lot of points gained over our championship rival of Carlos Sainz. Kimi Raikkonen on the right hand side, going down in towards turn 1. We're going to have to go around the outside if we want to get position. No, we don't, as Kimi Raikkonen runs it too deep, turns into the side of us, and loses a bit of time there, and also loses a position to the manor of Rio Haryanto as well. Disappointment for Kimi Raikkonen to make that mistake, run it too deep, then turn into our side pod. And here we are on the final lap. One driver who has not had any problems at all is Daniel Ricciardo, who comes through the final corner now to take a fantastic victory for Red Bull. They made a couple of upgrades heading into the last race at Malaysia. Looks like those upgrades have worked here at the Japanese Grand Prix. We're going to come through the final corner now for second place in today's race. It's back-to-back podiums here in my career mode. A great result for us, and a lot of points gained on Carlos Sainz. What a result then in today's Japanese Grand Prix. My best ever result on any F1 game at the Japanese Grand Prix on Ultimate AI, and it was such a good race for me. I finally managed to conquer the Japanese Grand Prix, and I was so happy with that second place. It may not have been a race win, that is what we're going to aim for next season, but to get second place at one of my worst circuits it's just an amazing result for me. And I'm very, very happy with that. Daniel Ricciardo, though, he won today's race. There's been so many race winners, I believe, in this season, which is really, really exciting to see. I finished in second place. Rio Haryanto getting on the podium in that manner. Great result for the Manor driver. Kimi Räikkönen finished in 4th with Sebastian Vettel 5th, Fernando Alonso 6th, Carlos Sainz in 7th, Lewis Hamilton 8th, Max Verstappen finished the race in 9th, and Pascal Wehrlein getting the final championship point in the other Manor. So a good race for Manor all round. Nico Rosberg, disappointing race for him, finishing down in 11th, and also a disappointing race for Jolyon Palmer, who qualified in pole position, but unfortunately a mechanical failure towards the end of the race, where he was actually battling with us for second place, forced him to go further down the field in P12. So disappointing for him not to score any points. Looking further down the field, and there's my teammate Nico Hülkenberg, who did not have a good race at all, making 4 pit stops in today's race, finishing down in 17th position. Not a good race for him. And then we have Romain Grosjean and Danny Kvyat, who had a collision with Kevin Magnussen, who's also down the back of the field, 20th, 21st and 22nd. And then Jenson Button, who got that puncher towards the end of the race, finishing down in 19th place. So those guys not having the best of races. But let's see, though, how this affects us in the driver's standings. And in the driver's standings, the gap is now 55 points to Carlos Sainz. We're making our way back towards this championship battle. 55 points. It is still a huge margin, but we are certainly doing a good job. However, Carlos Sainz can win the Drivers' World Championship at the American Grand Prix if he beats us by 20 points. So if he beats us by 20 points, the only way he can do that is to win the race and for us to score no points, which has happened over our previous season. So we'll be hoping not to do that at the American Grand Prix, hoping to get a similar result like we did today and try and beat Carlos Sainz and try and close up on him in the championship. Looking at the rivalry update after today's Japanese Grand Prix, and after that DNF from Danny Kvyat, it means we actually beat him in all the race ones, but unfortunately he beats us in fastest sector 1 and sector 2, but we do beat him in fastest sector 3 and the fastest lap overall. So that pulls it back to 29 to 25, which means it's most likely at the American Grand Prix it's either going to be a draw or Danny Kvyat wins it. So we're just going to have to make sure that that does not happen. But our downforce upgrade will be available for that American Grand Prix. So we do have to wait for that. It's 913 resource points at the moment. So at the next race, we could either upgrade the chassis weight or upgrade the downforce. But heading into the next couple of tracks, I'm probably going to want to go for the downforce, especially at a track like Brazil. And then if we can, upgrade the chassis weight for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. If not, we'll just cease research and development, save up the points and store them for next season. But that is it for today's Japanese Grand Prix. If you have enjoyed the episode, don't forget to smash that like button. Also, subscribe to this channel for a daily F1 2016 career mode. Like I said last time out the Malaysian Grand Prix, this is going to be a daily series from now on. So you can expect USA to be tomorrow, Mexico to be the day after, Brazil to be after that, and then Abu Dhabi to be the day after that. It's going to be a daily career mode all the way up to Abu Dhabi, and then after Abu Dhabi, we're going to have a little bit of a break before we head back into a daily series once again for Season 4. But I will see you next time at the American Grand Prix. But until then, it's goodbye from me.